what we do here is go back.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. I'm having some issues here, so hopefully we can get this up and going, and it'll work properly for us today. I had actually upgraded our internet last week and was hoping that that would fix a lot of the issues that we're having on the stream. And from what it looks like, hasn't changed much, so not really sure what's going on there. I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to approach this, because yeah, I don't get why the quality of the wireless cam that I use is just like, it just gets so choppy. Regardless, let's get this bad boy up and going here. All right. So how's everybody doing? We having a good weekend so far? Probably need to bring the music down a hair. Bring that down some. All right, well, today I kind of figured that we would get into a little bit more of the actual process of like comic making and things like that. I see a lot of questions online, just in various communities and whatnot, that I kind of float around in about screentones. Screentones is something that typically nowadays are going to be digital, so people are going to throw them in, whatever Procreate, Krita, whatever they're going to be using. Toss them into that, and that's what they're using. Myself, I do purely physical screentones. So we're talking cutting them out, sticking them onto the page, scanning them in, so on and so forth, and getting them to look proper. So we're going to get into that today. I have some practice sheets, and we're also going to be taking a look at some, it's basically a kit that you can purchase that I would recommend to get. So let's go ahead and flip the screen over here, and let's take a look at some of this stuff. And then of course, first things first, we're going to need to do some housekeeping. Okay. September 13th, September 14th. I do realize that this is a little ways away, but I just wanted to make everybody aware, that I'm going to be there, and I'm just going to pound this thing into the ground. It's going to be where I'm going to be selling the comic. Probably going to be having two comics. Probably going to show up with a sketchbook as well. I'm going to be selling stickers, art prints, so on and so forth. I did talk about how I was going to be doing a Public Enemy art print set. I have Flavor already done. I have Terminator X already done. Probably going to do Professor Griff and Chuck D here in the near future. Today after the stream, I'm probably going to hit my Joe Kubert books. I started up the Joe Kubert correspondence course last week. I did my first assignment last week, so just kind of working through the rest of the pages so I can get to assignment number 2, and I think I'm going to be able to knock out the very first the whole entire first book, probably by the end of next week. So getting done with those. I have 6 of those correspondence books, so I'm just pounding through those, getting them done. So yeah, this is what I'll probably work on after the stream today, is probably just do some practice and whatnot. Probably not going to work on my book or anything like that. And then with that being said, let's go ahead and bounce back to this here. I do realize that it's frozen, but camera does that for whatever reason when you do this. Okay. So this is going to be the anthology that I'm working on. This is the form that I have. So if you do have art that's laying around, if you have pages that you want to turn in for me, you know, please do. The deadline for this book, you know, it's coming up on Tuesday. It's going to be open until midnight on Tuesday, so technically it's closing on the 2nd if you want to look at it that way. So you have the entirety of the 1st to get pages or art to me. Some people have already turned in things. As you can see, I do have 4 responses. I'm not gonna lie, what we have turned in so far look great. I'm actually pretty impressed, and my expectations have been, you know, exceeded for sure with the just like the talent pool that has sent in things to me. As you can see here, you know, I was kind of looking for my goal for about 10 to 15 artists, because I wanted to get 2 books done. So we're looking at about 30 artists total. Right now I'm sitting at about 5 submissions. So, you know, I'm definitely going to need to get some more pages here. I do have enough pages currently to make at least a mini comic. And then I'm working on a comic of my own on the side that I could have pages that I could contribute to. My comic is probably going to be about 10 pages, and I have 4 of them completely penciled and inked. It's just a matter of cranking out my other pages. I started on a test page on Friday, I think, Friday night. I kind of have a page laid out, you know, thumbnailed, everything like that, and that just has to get finalized. So the project is cranking along here. Next week, we're definitely going to be taking a look at what, you know, some people had turned in. Not everything, because I don't want to give it all away, but we'll look at a page or 2 of what I've done, a page or 2 what some other artists in the community have done. So yeah, if you want to submit anything, you know, please do. You can always find the description and whatnot here, and then as well, this is going to be my email. So if you want to contact me, or you can submit your files there as well. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to bring up and talk about, because we're going to be looking at screen tones and everything like that today. So this is a kit that I would recommend to get if you already do not have this stuff, mainly because this is going to have everything that you're going to need to get up and going. It's going to have your blades, it's going to have inks in there, it even has markers, it has paper. So anything you need to make a comic, it is in here. And there is even walkthroughs on how to make comics. There's walkthroughs on how to use screen tones. So literally this is a how-to kit on how to, you know, physically make a comic book. The pages that they give you are a little small. They're smaller than a normal comic book size. I can definitely tell you that. They're a little thinner, so I don't necessarily know if the paper that they give you in this kit, if I would use it, maybe just like for scrap paper, maybe doing thumbnails and stuff on, but it's definitely way too thin to lay ink and stuff on. I can tell you that right away. It's the paper is just going to get all warped and messed up and warbled because it simply just can't hold that amount of ink. So with that being said, so this kit, let's go ahead and just kind of run down the list here. So it comes in this box. It is about the same size of a sheet of paper, so it's about 11 and it's about 8.5 by 11. It's about letter size. It's probably about 3 inches thick. So you can fit a lot of things in here. So what I'm getting at is it comes with a container that you can put all of this stuff in. So if you want to use it as a secondary thing to kind of like use to put pens, pencils, and whatever, you definitely can use that. It's going to come with these different styles of screen tones, and we will also take a look at what it actually will come with. So these screen tones here, as you can see, it has different styles, and we'll talk about what these different numbers and everything like that, what they correlate to. And then as well comes with this manga techniques sort of thing. So like I was saying, this is sort of like a basic, hey, here's how you can draw basic anime characters, you know, here's how you can do just basic background perspective and whatnot. If you've been drawing for a while, this is just stuff that you should already know how to do. Or if you already have, like, you know, art books, reference material, so on and so forth, like, this is just super, super basic stuff. Like, I flipped through it, I'm like, yeah, this is, like, stuff that you would give to somebody if they were, like, an absolute, like, beginner and don't know, like, they don't know anything about drawing, period. So, like, you know, it shows you, like, oh, here's a circle and how you do scale with the head, and it's, like, that kind of stuff. So, it's more of something that I would probably give away to somebody, but if you're a pure beginner, probably would be good for something to have. So take that under consideration. And then as well, this will come with a set of black and white inks. DeLuxe, they do make different styles of inks that do different things. So, you know, like the blacks will be darker than some others. Some might be archival, some might not be, some might be waterproof, some might not be. So I think they have 5 different ink styles, and they label them 1 through 5. So it'd be like DeLuxe Manga Ink Black 1, DeLuxe Manga Ink Black 2, so on and so forth. This kit, I believe it comes with, let's see if it says, I believe it comes with number 1, yeah. So that is the basic ink that it'll come with. So it comes with the basic white, and it comes with the basic black. They are not waterproof, so that's like the biggest thing. So if you're going to be using this, I'd probably use it more for practice, and maybe the white to, you know, to clean up some of your lines and whatnot. Because I had used some of this ink, it is really liquidy. And on top of that, like I said, it's not waterproof, so if you go to do other things on top of it, it's going to run. So do what you will with that information. And then, yeah, it comes with Copic pens, markers, it comes with manga brushes, it comes with French curves, it comes with staplers, it comes with a G pen. It also comes with after you've kind of learned, hey, here's how you draw basic things, and it tells you, like, hey, let's make a basic comic. And it shows you how you can take, you know, a piece of paper, fold it into 4 pieces, and kind of like staple it on the ends and make like a mini comic. So it kind of gives you the options on how to do that. Comes with the bone hera, comes with the cutting board, comes with a you know, a tone knife, a scalpel that you'll need. So literally everything you'll need to make a comic, like I said, it comes with it. So markers, paper, French curves, erasers, so on and so forth, has everything. The other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is they're just websites called Jet Pens. This is probably where I get a vast majority of my supplies, so my inks and whatnot. So when you're looking at DeLuxe Screentones, so they make 2 different styles of tones in terms of sizes. So they have DeLuxe Junior, and then they have just the straight DeLuxe. So I will pull up here, kind of so you can see the different sizes. Gotta fix this. So this is a DeLuxe Junior, and this is a full DeLuxe sheet. So you can kind of tell here the differences between the 2. It's quite a size difference. So the DeLuxe Junior screens I usually use for smaller detailing and things like that. So shadows, hands, smaller objects to shade. So you can kind of see I've definitely used this in the past for smaller objects. And then the larger sheets, depending on what it is, I will use for backgrounds or, you know, to fill out larger sections. So let's grab this stuff here. Let's go ahead and flip the camera over. Let's see. All right. So the screen tones, when you're looking at them, they're going to have this number up at the top. That's what's going to correlate with the actual print that is on the screen tone. So if you want to buy a screen tone and you want to remember what it was because you really liked it, make a log of what these numbers are, because it's going to make it way easier to find this stuff when you're trying to rebuy it. Because believe it or not, Screentone is extremely hard to find, especially if you are importing it from Japan, which that's where a vast majority of this stuff is going to be made. Typing in deleter Screentone, you get a million different things. Posts go up, they go away because things get bought up so quickly, so on and so forth. So it is really hard to be like deleter background buildings and then say you're using buildings as a background. It is really hard to find this same exact screen tone that you've already used. So remembering this number up at the top will make your life way easier. So that's kind of a tip for everyone out there. Just to maybe like make a little log in your sketchbook or what have you for the screen tones that you like to use, and remember these numbers. So this is the screen tone pack that comes with the little kit that we were looking at. So usually when you buy a screen tones, they'll come in either a variety pack, or it'll come in a like multiple pack. So it'll have like 2 or 3 sheets in there for just for like $10 for the mini sheets. And then if you go into the larger sheets, it's usually 3 or 4 sheets for about $35, $40. So the stuff isn't cheap. So that's one of the things that I can tell you guys right away is when you are using your screen tones, you have to try to make sure that you're being as economical as humanly possible. And being aware of where you're placing your screen tone onto the drawing as opposed to where it is on the actual screen tone paper. So you can see that I try to stick to the edges. So that way it's the most cost-effective way. Because if you do it right here in the center, and now you have to do something that's going to be larger, now you can't use it. So you have to make sure, you know, you're being aware of where you're actually cutting the stuff off of, because the stuff ain't cheap. So being as economical as possible is important. So as you can tell, I get a lot of use out of this stuff. It is primarily what I am using for my shading and my coloring. You can kind of tell here that this was definitely used as a background. So this was a silhouette of like a portrait, and then I cut around to get that effect there. And I can actually, let's grab that page here and I can show it to you guys. So you can get a better idea of what I had done there. All right. So this was the background that I had cut around, and this is the figure. So this is something that I wanted to bring up, is the different styles of screen tones when you're doing things. This is something that I've noticed from different artists, is that there is a style to your screen tone appliance, if that makes sense. So some cartoonists, they'll leave like a white outline around their screen tone like I did here to make things pop. Some do not. Some will cut it super precise. Some will cut it to where the screen tone might go over the lines and it's not like the most accurate thing in the world. When you start paying attention to this stuff, so like I was looking at the Crow recently. Like, James Barr is like really messy with his screen tones, and he's not accurate with it like at all. So his screen tone, like the dots will go over the lines and things like that. So it's kind of like a more messy look. I definitely really like that. And that's something else that, you know, I've done with screen tones is filling it in with word bubbles, and then like coloring things like the hell is this thing? Dentist chair, Lord have mercy, like the dentist chair and things like that. Doing the darkers on the sides to really put into, you know, like this is a three-dimensional object. All right, let's put this back. So unfortunately, it looks like that the camera is it died on us. So even after upgrading the internet, it still does not want to work properly. Thing kills me, man. I think what I'm going to do is, because it's not payday for me this week, it's paydays next week, I am going to get a different camera, because I bought a wireless camera. See, now it's back. It's so annoying. I bought a wireless camera, and the thing's connectivity to like the Wi-Fi is just fucking terrible. I thought that it would be something that I could purchase and it would make it easier for me as a convenience, because there isn't going to be as many cables floating around, so on and so forth. But man, the thing just sucks bandwidth. It's like worse than the actual stream itself. Yeah, it just died again. It's annoying. So yeah, next week I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing, is actually buying a new camera, and so then that way on the stream on Sunday, it's like the overhead camera is like good to go. And we might end up having to pivot into doing that. Man, let's flip the screen here real quick. I'm just trying to troubleshoot this here. Come on, work with me. All right, well, scratch that. I'll tell you what, folks, we might have to pivot the stream today, because I wanted to do this like walkthrough, I guess, of screen tones and how to use it. I had everything set up, but the camera just does not want to work today. That's why it took me like 10 minutes to actually get the stream up and going earlier, because like the camera just would not connect. So like I was saying earlier, the thing, it connects through, it's wireless, so it connects through Wi-Fi. And I upgraded my internet last week, and unironically, ever since I've upgraded my internet, I've had nothing but fucking issues with it. It's like even my work computer, because I work from home, it's like it just constantly just drops off the Wi-Fi, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna have to call you know, my internet provider and see what the hell is up with that, because I think there's something that's going on. Like, I don't know if they're throttling me or what, because yeah, it's just, the internet's just been terrible the last week. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to purchase a new camera. I mean, there's really no other way around that. I'm going to end up, I think, getting probably 2 different cameras. And I'm gonna get them set up to where I'm gonna have one overhead, I'm gonna have one forward facing, I'm gonna have this one here, so I'm gonna have 3 cameras total. And I think that'll be the best setup to do. So that way I can drag a camera over to my actual drawing desk, which is like over there in that corner of my studio, and get that put on, put that on over there, so that way I can just do streams straight from my desk. So when I want to do more art streams, it makes it way easier to do. So I think that's probably what's going to be the plan for next week. Is that's going to be my project, is to track down another two cameras and send them up that way, and hopefully I can get them set up to where you know, it looks good. So since we're pivoting a little bit, man, I figured that we could pull out some stuff and just kind of take a look at it here for a little bit. And then next week, we're going to pivot more into the actual Screentone stuff. So I do apologize if we had anybody hanging out wanting to get a Screentone tutorial. It just didn't work. So the camera, for whatever reason, it took a shit on me finally today. Like, it just won't connect at all. I mean, you guys had just seen it. Like, the thing just keeps cutting out. I refreshed it, and I uninstalled it, reinstalled it. Drivers on my computer, that thing just does not want to work. So what are you gonna do, man? It's technology. You know, I tried. So I think is what we'll do for the meantime is, because my screen, technically it still works here, obviously, because we're sitting here and we're chatting. So I think is what I will do. Let's go ahead and pop this up here. I want to kind of talk about different supplies and whatnot. And we'll just pivot the stream a little bit. So let me get some stuff pulled up here. Let's grab this. So I kind of wanted to talk about more of like the process of comic book making a little bit. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of show you guys some of the things that I've been using. Because it is something that I see come up quite a bit. And since we're on the topic of Screentones, and we're gonna pick up this stream next week, right where we had got left off here. So more comic book making stuff. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and just show this off here. Okay, so this is something that I see get brought up quite a bit, and again, just within like some of the communities that I hang out in and all that kind of stuff, is what do I use for a cheap scanner? So this is something that I had come across recently. I had purchased one of these, and I think that it is a good product. It is a wonky product, but it does work if you get it to bend against its will. So this is the CZUR Shine Ultra Pro. This company, CZUR, they do make different scanners and whatnot that you can buy. There is like the ET series and the Shine series. There is another one. What is it called? Let's see here. Aura. That's what it's called, as an Aura. So the one that I would recommend is either the ET or the Shine. So I have the Ultra Pro, the Shine Ultra Pro. Basically what this thing does, it is an automatic scanner, OCR scanner, so you can feed stuff underneath it. When it scans it, it'll automatically scan it into an editable PDF. So you can go in and edit any lettering that you maybe have done digitally, so on and so forth. So that's really cool. So it has a built-in OCR into it. The biggest thing that this thing does, it will flatten files for you. So if you have a book and you're sliding a book underneath this, the thing scans with the laser, so it'll flatten that file for you. So the book, when you had scanned it in, you can scan the entirety of both pages at the same time, and it'll scan it flat. So it doesn't, like, the scan doesn't look all wonky, it doesn't get distorted. The program itself is smart enough that it'll flatten everything out for you, make it look clean and crisp. So that's another thing that's really awesome about this. The other thing is, as well, you can do upwards to 11:17 on this, which, as everybody knows, that's kind of the standard in comics. So you take this, where's my cursor here? So you take this, and this expands up, and this will flip out. So you can take this flips inwards, and then you can telescope this down so it's nice and compact. Like, I keep this thing on my desk 24/7, and then when I want to use it, it could fold out. This button right here, you press it, it turns a light on. There's like 3 bright, super bright LEDs underneath this, and that's what adjusts the brightness. You can turn it on or off for the light. One of the reasonings why I recommend this over a different scanner is, one, it is dramatically cheaper than so, and then secondly, this thing does great with screen tones. So I was at a FedEx, I went to a UPS store, I went to a local print shop. Every single one of them, their Xerox machines or scanners, whatever they were using, when they were scanning them in, it was washing out my screen tones. Like, you just couldn't see them. Like, there wasn't any of the gray scale, variance to it at all. It was straight, just like, looked like black and white dots on everything. This bad boy right here completely mitigated that. With Screentone, it has like a gloss to it, obviously. The material that a Screentone is, it is very much a, pull out a sheet here. It's very much like the material. It's kind of the same thing that like a Scotch tape would be made out of, if that makes sense. It's definitely like that same film, same thickness. So it has a gloss to it. So when you're shining something super bright on it, it's going to have a reflection, and obviously you do not want that in your scans. So what do? You use this. So like I was saying earlier, you have the ability to shut off the lights on this. So when you're using a scanner, obviously there's the light that goes and it's traveling, and that's what's actually scanning the image. You can shut that off on this, and that's just something manual that you can do. And from what I've noticed is, because my window in my studio is literally right here, natural light is the best thing to scan screen tones. So I open up my window, I get my files, and I literally set them right here. I take my scanner, I cascade it out, and then there's a program, and I'm curious to see. Let me get this readjusted here, because I can try to load up my actual scanner software and show it to you guys. See if it's going to load up for us. All right, cool. So I might be able to show you guys what it looks like. Oh, no shit. I don't even have it plugged in right now because my laptop's sitting over here. But anyways, just for the sake of argument, let's go ahead and just show this off a little bit. All right, so this is kind of what your scan software is going to look like. So you're going to bring up your image, and it's going to display what you have going on here. And you literally just press scan, and then it takes a photo, and then what it does is it drops in all of your scans over here on the right-hand side. So you can do batches. So let's say that, hey, I want to scan an entire comic book, or I'm going to be scanning pages for my comic book and you want to scan them in sequence. You can do that, and this thing auto scans. So all you need to do is slide your page underneath the scanner, and it recognizes that it's there and it'll scan it. Other thing that you do not need to do, the page does not need to be straight. It can be completely crooked. Like, you can literally stick your page in there and it could be completely lopsided like this, and the program will straighten it out for you when it scans. I don't know, like, this was a scanner that was kickstarted, I think, like last year or the year before, and it's great. I would stay away from the cheaper models. From what I've seen, the scan quality on them is not great. The minimum scan quality on this is 300 DPI, and I think the maximum is 1200 DPI, maybe 1400 DPI. So it's perfect to make comics, because like the minimum that you even want is 300. So it works perfect. You can do a little bit of editing and whatnot into here, but again, is what I love about it is it does automatic scan, so you don't have to sit here, take your time, opening up the scan bed, setting down a sheet, making sure that it's straight, so on and so forth. It does all of that shit for you. All you do, stick it underneath it, it'll scan it. If you want, you can do like press the, space bar to scan it, press the button on the screen to scan it. The scanner also comes with a foot pedal. So you can USB a foot pedal up, and so when you set your stuff underneath it, foot pedal, scan it. Pull your paper out, put it underneath it, foot pedal, scan it. Some people might want to operate it that way. I don't know, the thing's fucking cool. And you can scan it straight to Word, you can scan it straight to Excel. You can do it into, like I said, a OCR file. You can do it to a TIFF file. You can crop straight from this. You can adjust levels straight from this. You can standardize your paper size from this, so on and so forth. So there's just a lot of editing that you can do just from the scan before you actually get it into like a Photoshop or whatever. So like I said, the CZUR Shine Pro, that's the model that I'm using, and I would recommend to buy, mainly for the reason that you can do 11x17 scans. It's a cheaper scanner, and then plus it takes natural photos of your screen tones to where it doesn't wash out any of the grays. Like I said, I did notice that if you keep the lights on the scanner and you're doing screen tone scans, it does create a reflection or glare, and you cannot get rid of that digitally, or at least it's extremely hard to do. Take your stuff by a window, scan it by a window, and it works. And that's the great thing about this. It is designed to be a portable scanner, so you can fucking take this thing anywhere. Take it to a library, take it to wherever, because guess what? You can charge this thing and it can run on a battery. Obviously I keep mine plugged in by USB, but I think it has like a 4 to 8 hour charge time, depending on, what you're doing with it. Because the other thing that I said that you can do with this that I did not mention, you can use it as an overhead camera. It is not the greatest quality camera in the world. I would say if you're just using it for like still images, so if you're going to be like presenting something at like a meeting or for like class or whatever, and it doesn't need to be like a moving image like I would be doing here for like showing off comic books or anything, you can just like slide something underneath it, leave it there, talk about what you're looking at, and then using it more as like a projector. It works great for that, because it's exactly what I would categorize this as like a modern projector. Sticking something underneath it, it casts it to a screen. You talk about whatever the image is, you take it off, you put something else on. That's the best way to look at it, is it's a projector. So this thing has multiple uses outside of just being a scanner. I don't know, I'm super fucking impressed by it. When I first purchased the CZUR, I was kind of miffed by it a little bit. because I really didn't like understand, I guess, the like how to use it properly, how to get it to look right, the lights on it, so on and so forth. But after I fucked around with it for like a week, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand it. The thing's fantastic, and I would recommend it. And they're not super expensive. I think I got mine on a sale for $300. I want to say they're like $350, $375 for the Ultra Pro. So that's what I would recommend to buy, is the Ultra Pro. So you can kind of see here, it talks about how it flattens the files for you. So it has OCR, so if you don't know what that means, it basically means when you're scanning something in, like a book or whatever, it turns the file editable, so you can go in and fix typos or whatever. So you can see here that it has a 24 megapixel camera, and it goes up to the 440 DPI at the minimum, I should say. So then, yeah, you can see what I was talking about, how it kind of cascades into itself, and it telescopes there. Does great for drawings, toys, so on and so forth. So you can kind of see here, it does the automatic scans. So when you're scanning stuff in, you can just throw it onto your table, and it'll just correct the image for you automatically. So you don't always need to make sure that it's like straight, you know, on the screen or anything like that. Throw it down blindly, hit scan, and it'll correct the image for you. It's awesome. So let's look at drawings here. So you can kind of see it does fuck with the color a little bit when you are scanning it in, so that's something to be aware of, because obviously it'll brighten it up, but that's something that you can correct at the scan itself inside the CZUR software, or it's something that you can correct inside your Photoshop. So like I was saying earlier, this thing can do video recording. It doesn't do the greatest video recording. It's super choppy. Like it honestly, it probably records at like 10 frames a second. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's terrible. The biggest things for me is going to be like the flatten curve technology, the auto scan, and the portability of it, just being able to take it anywhere. The auto scan saves you a lot of time, especially if you're like scanning old books. If that's something that interests you, like you're archiving something, reference material, photos, what have you, toss it down in front of the scanner and it just scans it, fixes it for you, saves you a lot of time and effort. The thing that I can tell you though right away is that, like I said, it takes some time to get used to. It's something that you have to just mess around with and get familiar with it. Like I said, I probably did 50 or so scans with it before I started to feel comfortable with it and I kind of understand its nuances. I get that with the scanner or pieces of technology, people might just want to, take their piece, set it on the thing, scan it, super basic, in terms of like user interface, the actual experience of using the product, so on and so forth. This has a little bit of a learning curve getting into it in terms of getting it to look right for the use of making a comic book. But once you get past that first initial learning curve, it's like you can throw scans down and like you just get them done like that. So it becomes kind of second nature. So like I said, I would recommend the scanner to make comics if that's what you're looking to do. The thing that I can tell you though is if you're doing color comics, I've scanned a couple of books, and it doesn't wash out the color, but it will do like an auto filtering. So when you drop it into like the CZUR program, and that's what you're using, to scan, make sure that you have like auto filtering and things like that turned off, because it'll fuck with your color. Unless obviously you're doing color separations and things like that, then great. But if you colored straight onto your page and that's what you're going to be scanning, you have to make sure that you're turning off the auto scan feature, because when you go to scan it in, it'll auto filter it as well. And obviously you don't want like a filter put onto your work. It's like you can do that on your own in Photoshop if you wish. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's flip over here and let's talk about this. You're probably looking at this and you're like, why are you showing me this? Well, this is a website that I've come across, and honestly, it's a pretty popular website from what I've noticed in terms of fonts and things like that. This is like the best resource that I've been able to find for fonts, for stylized text. So you can come in here and obviously you can get like stupid, you know, we're going to call it licensed fonts and things like that. So there's different text styles, different image tools, so on and so forth. So is what I do is I go in here and I'm like, oh, what am I looking for? So you can see that like I've used this a lot for various things. So let's say I want to look up some horror fonts. So it'll generate up everything that I can find on the website. And this is a website that you kind of have to get used to navigating, because there are things that are buried on top of things that are buried on top of things. So I recommend is what you do is if you find a font that you like, is I have a sticky note on my monitor here with all the fonts that I've been using, so that I can remember what they are, so I can just type them in and then boom, they just pop up. Because if you find something, it is extremely hard to trace back to how you got to it, because this website, like I said, it's just stuff buried on top of stuff, buried on top of stuff. So for instance, we're in horror fonts right now, but there is a whole other subsection for Halloween fonts. And once you get into Halloween fonts, you can break that down into horror fonts, grunge fonts, whatever. So there's like subsets on top of subsets on top of subsets. So it's real easy to get lost on this website is what I'm getting at. So if you find a font that you like, you have to remember the name, or you're gonna get fucked when you go back and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go back and do some editing on some lettering. You're not gonna find that font again. It is going to be impossible. Like, I sat here and scrolled when I first was rolling out my anthology project, trying to find a font that I had found the day previous to that. Dude, and I scrolled for hours and hours and hours, like trying to find it. And I finally found it, and I made sure that I wrote it down so I did not forget what it was called. Because I'm not even joking, like I scrolled for like 2 hours trying to find it. Okay, so let's say you drop into this and it gives you what your actual fonts would look like. And you come down in here and let's just say that you just do, you know, hello, and you hit generate. Boom, it gives it to you. You can copy paste it, you can save it, and it'll generate up that image for you. You can bring it up to a bigger size. Boom. And then, like I was saying, the thing that I've noticed here, so see what I mean? So you can go into 3D fonts, but you can find horror-themed fonts within the 3D fonts stuff. So, at least like a horror-style font. But as what I'm getting at is, like, this website is just fantastic. Like, there's just so many fonts that are on here. You just have to find what you want to use. And you can take, like, let's just say, like, you like this font. You can download this font and drop it into a Krita. You can drop it into a Microsoft Word or whatever and source file this. So that way when you are typing digitally, this font just generates up in whatever, you know, program that you're using. So this is a pretty cool source to have. And again, like, it just goes all over the place in terms of what you can do with this website. So just like with this, you can download the font. So when you're typing, like, you know, this is what we'll be typing in, or you can just do straight up just generate it here and you can do it as a document. So I wanted to show you guys, So this is kind of like a rough of what the front and back cover would look like for the comic book in terms of, you know, my anthology. All of this font and everything like that, I had pulled from that website. So if you guys are familiar with Famous Monsters, let me get this going here again. This is the same exact font from Famous Monsters, and it was not hard to find because when you look at the Famous Monster font, it is extremely, it's exact. There are bands like the Misfits and things like that that ripped this font off, but it's not exact. And I was trying to get the Famous Monster font, and there are so many horror-themed or monster-themed fonts. Lord have mercy, it was real hard to find this once, and then to find it again, it was extremely difficult. It's called Monsterama, and I made sure not to forget what it was called. So you can kind of see the things that you can do with it. Like this is Delta 1, I believe is what this font is called. And again, that's a font that they had used in Famous Monsters. So it was like being exact to that font. And that's stuff that you can just do. And as what I had done was I had gone in here and I just generated up different sizes. So let's say it's like, boom. Then you can just copy the image, and then you just come in here and then you just paste it on. And obviously you'd want to make it to where it's perfect to the size because you don't want to stretch or minimize it at all because it's going to fuck with how the image actually was produced. It's going to make it look wonky. So, you know, just make sure that you're dropping in your stuff to the correct size or generating up to the correct size before you're dropping it in so it doesn't look weird. Just little tips for everyone. But yeah, this is like the best website that I've found for fonts. Millions and millions and millions of fonts, and you can even create your own fonts on here. So this is awesome. Like I said, like you can steal the fonts, save them into your programs, use them for digital fonts if you want to. You can use them as like clip art fonts. So it's just a good resource to use, and this is what I've been using. So I recommend it. All right. Let's take a look here. So this was the kits that they were talking about, that we were talking about earlier. So they do sell different kits. We'll get more into the nitty-gritty of the actual Screentones next week, because again, sorry, my camera just did not want to cooperate with me, so I'm going to have to buy a new one. It comes with different tools and things like that, and you do have the different kits. This is probably the kit that I would recommend to purchase. Excuse me. Mainly due to the fact that it comes with more things, and then just in terms of the pricing of things outside of the kit, you're essentially getting a lot of this stuff for free, if that makes sense. So it's just more bang for your buck than what you're getting for over here. So we talked about this a little bit, the different styles of the leader ink. I think that they give you a breakdown. Well, let's see. Yeah. So they give you a breakdown on, I wonder if we can. Son of a bitch. Cool. So it breaks down what the different inks do and what they offer. So if you ever are buying Deleter inks and you are not sure, this is a good resource to do that. And this is something that I honestly had just kind of, I guess, memorized at this point, or I just know. Basically, is what you want to be using is anything from black 3 and black 4. I'd probably stay away from black 1 and 5, mainly for the reasons that they are not waterproof. And like, it's hard to describe, but it has like this weird like grayish tone to the ink. Like it's alcohol based, as you can see here. Like it talks about working with the alcohol based marker, which their Copic markers are alcohol based, but when you're putting down the the ink onto the paper, it's not like the blackest black you've ever seen. It has like a grayish like wash to it. So that is something that I can tell you with a lot of Deleter inks, is that they are not as black as you would like it to be. So take that for what you will. But this is, again, it's just a good resource to have, I think, to know the differences between their inks. Because it is a little bizarre that they number them like that, as opposed to just having different colors. But that's just the way that they roll. So this is what I wanted to look at here. So when we're looking at Deleter Screentones, they have different sets, and it was what I would recommend to do is to buy them in these sets. So they'll have different tones that come with them. So you can see your different densities. So it goes from a light density down to a dark density. When you start laying down screen tones on top of screen tones, you start getting this weird like effect. It's kind of hard to describe. You get like this shimmer effect, and that's something they talk about in their like manga book that comes with the kits. So you can do different effects with like how the dots look with how they run. Oh, you can do backgrounds, and this is one here that I use pretty often, actually. So let's open this up here. So this Deleter background set is probably the one that I use the most out of any of them. The clouds, the inside of rooms here I use quite a bit. And these trees and like plants I use as well. Yeah, I'll wait till next week to show that stuff off till I got a better camera. Cause like a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do today were kind of hindered because of the camera. Let's see here. So yeah, you can get patterned sets. And like I was saying, this stuff is not cheap. So you want to make sure that if you're going to be using this stuff, you are using it and you're using it in the most economical way possible. So we got different patterns and everything like that. And I'll bring out a drawing here. And show that off in terms of like the different patterns of things that you can do. And I showed this off last week. Bring this up. So like this Terminator X, it's like yeah, it's really hard to tell. But this background, it's like I don't even know what you'd categorize it, but it has like bubbles and stuff on it, and his shirt has like a plaid on there, as you can see. So you can do all sorts of stuff. You kind of have to think outside the box of screen tones, which I don't think that's something that a lot of people do. They're using it strictly just to be screen tones, and they're not thinking outside the box at all. So with like the buildings, you see what I mean? So it's like I'm cutting out circles, and then I'm using them like they're inside of a sniper scope. So there's things that you can do with screen tones that might be outside of the norm. You just have to be creative with it, really, at the end of the day. grab something else here. So I showed this off earlier, but I just kind of wanted to show it again. So the background deleter set, I'll just go back to this. So like this one right here, specifically, I had used in this panel. So let's bring this up to the full. So you can see in this panel is what I had done is I cut out a specific section of the screen tone of that hallway. And then now it looks like a shot of a long hallway, but the screen tone does not look like that. I cut it to make it look like that. And then I drew on top of the screen tone, which you have to be real careful for because this shit will smear super easy. So you have to leave it sit for an eternity and let it dry because yeah, it'll just smear. So then I drew on top of it like somebody wearing a hoodie, kind of walking down the hallway. So you can see the doctor will be with you shortly. And all that is screen tone. So you can do creative things with screen tone. It is 100% up to you and what you do with it. You just have to be creative. And it's like down here with like this sink that's in the foreground. That's 100% screen toned. This light that's up here, that's kind of like filling up space. As you can kind of see, there's an edge there to it that has been screen toned. So again, you guys just have to be creative with what you're doing with your comics. It's completely up to you. And that's one of the reasons why I love comics so much, is because nobody is telling you how to make this shit. It is up to you with how you're making them. It's extremely freeing to do, to have something like that. You just have to use your imagination a little bit and think outside the box. These tools are out there and they're being given to you and they're out there to be used. It's just up to you with how you're utilizing them. And this is, again, another example. This is coming undone. Of just, you can tell that I've had this taped up on my wall because I've been kind of using it as like an inspiration piece for what I'm working on. But this whole background is just screen tone. His face is nothing but screen tone, eyes is all screen toned. So next week, like I said, I'm going to invest into a new camera for next week, so that way we can actually make some stuff, and then we'll get down into the actual nitty-gritty. We'll cut some screen tones out, we'll stick them on. So we'll look at this as like a part 1 to some screen tones. I think I still gave out some pretty good knowledge today. In terms of like the scanner that I've been using and that works with screen tones to get it to work proper. I have, given some knowledge in terms of like where I'm purchasing this stuff from, where to get it, a good place to start, screen tones. So let's just treat this as a 2-part series then. Today was more of like a basics, what screen tones is, what the use of screen tones are, so on and so forth. And then next week, we're actually going to get down into it. And as you can see, the kits, they come with like these practice sheets, which I don't use because it's just a waste of the screen tone. But for the sake of the stream, we're going to take a look at it. So it comes with various sheets. basically just like coloring book is like the best way to describe it, just blank comics, and we'll screen tone them. So that's what we'll do next week, and that'll be a lot of fun. And then as well, we're going to get more into the nitty-gritty of my comic, more into the process of comic making. So that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, like I said, I'll have a new camera ready to go by next week. So after the stream here, that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to hit up my Joe Kubert books, start working on those a little bit. And then as well, I have some background work to do in terms of getting stuff ready for this book to get it done. The deadline is coming up here in a couple of days, so it's kind of like a crunch time to get everything done. So once I get that stuff done, you know, I'm going to prep the stream for next week, which I think this stream for next week is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to get a beefier camera, get that set up, good to go, and we're gonna get more into the process of making comics, which that's something that I've been kind of looking forward to. Is I've noticed a slight decline in terms of like viewership on the stream videos, at least. My normal videos, they get almost 1,000 views. 1,000 and below is kind of like where I sit for reviews on my stuff. So want to get back to making normal videos, and I think either next week or the week after, I'm gonna get to my local comic shop and actually like record hunting some comics there. So yeah, I might hop over there and do that next week and actually put out an actual video, so you guys can look forward to that. Okay, so next week we're going to continue kind of where we left off. We're going to look at more comic making stuff. We're going to pull out actual screen tone. I'm going to show off all the different screen tones that I have, and boy, because like I said, I pulled out all the stuff to do today, and I apologize that we just had technical difficulties. Like I tried for 10 minutes before the stream even started to get the thing to fucking work, and I finally did, and of course during the stream it died on me again. But as you can see, I have screen tones on top of screen tones on top of screen tones. There's probably 60 sheets here in my hand, so we have a lot of stuff to kind of look at, talk about, the different uses for screen tones. So it'll be a lot of fun actually, and we'll treat this today like it was a part one. We kind of talked about what you need to do in terms of just like the basic stuff to kind of get everybody up and going. So I tell you what, if you are out there in stream land, internet land, go out, buy some screen tones, buy the kit, and then maybe next week you can follow along with me. We can kind of treat it kind of like an art lesson. I feel like that I'm super comfortable with screen tones in terms of cutting it and things like that. So kind of show you guys different techniques on what I'm doing with my screen tones in terms of actually getting it off the page onto your artwork. Because this stuff is kind of finicky, and I'm not gonna lie, when like your first like couple of times that you're using it, handful of times that you use it, it's kind of nerve-wracking. Like your hands get sweaty, because it feels like if you fuck it up, you're gonna fuck it up, which I'm not gonna lie, like that's the case. It's super thin, you can mess it up super easy, you can rip it easily. But once you get comfortable with it, it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, you can just like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, it just becomes second nature, and that just becomes with practice. And I've used so much screen tone now, and I've been using screen tone for probably like the last like 3 or 4 months, like when I first started using it. And I use screen tone literally on every single comic sheet that I do now, and even artwork I'm using screen tone on. So I've become very practiced with it is what I'm getting at. So if you guys, want a good source for somebody who's actively making comics still and has tips and tricks on screen tones, it's like you're in the right place to do so. And Next week is what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to figure out the scanner, and we're going to scan some sheets in, and I will show you how to get it to look natural without it having a glare on the screen tone and everything like that, because we got the old trusty window right here. So that's something that I will be able to do for you guys, because like I had said earlier in the stream, if you're going to be doing screen tones, natural light is the best way to capture it. So it'll be a part 2 of screen tones, and I think that this probably justifies to have 2 parts, to be honest with you, because there's just so much information for something so basic. And yeah, we'll pick up next week on that. I'm going to show up with a new webcam. I'm going to show up with the setup on the scanner and get that going. And yeah, we'll talk about more of the comic making stuff. I'll show off a couple of pages that people had turned in for me. It looks like even while we were sitting here during the stream, I had somebody else turn in pages, so that's awesome. So yeah, more comics to come, people. And we're going to be looking at probably doing a normal video. So next weekend, Saturday, I'm probably going to head over to the comic shop. I'll shoot some stuff, and then throughout the week, I'll edit the video, and then probably towards like the tail end of the week, like you know, Wednesday through Friday, I'll probably have the video up. I'll start to edit the thing after you know, my normal day job. It's like you know, that's something that people may not remember. It's like, you know, it's like your boys working, you know, 10-hour days every day, Monday through Friday, on top of making comic books, on top of running a YouTube thing, on top of streaming, on top of you know, making anthology books. So it's like, I'm busy, and I try to stay busy. So editing, it's super time consuming, and that's like one of the biggest reasons why like the normal videos have slowed down so much, is just because like I have so much other things going on in the background. It's like, if I had an editor, like sitting down for an hour and shooting something, and then having them doing the editing process, that's great. Because like, to put into perspective for you guys, it's like I would sit and, like, let's say I record a 30-minute long video. I'm like, that's how long I recorded. Well, it's gonna take me like 2 hours to fucking edit that thing down to make it presentable, you know what I mean? So it's like, your editing time is so much longer than your actual record time, and you know, that's something that people don't realize. It's like, a lot of these YouTubers and things like that, they have teams of people, you know, it's like, oh yeah, the person might shoot everything and like record sound, but they take all of their sound and all of their, you know, recording, and they send it off to somewhere else, and somebody does all of the work for them. So all they do is record it. They don't do any of the actual editing, which that's where all of the work actually kind of comes into play, to be honest with you. Not that there isn't work in, you know, outlining a video, and you know, kind of getting like what you're going to be doing for your shooting, and sitting in front of the camera, being a personality, and all that kind of stuff. That's not something that's easy to do per se, but man, it's like, as anybody knows that's in content, it's like editing, that's where all the time and everything like that goes, man. And it's like that Todd McFarlane video, for instance, it's like that thing, after editing it, it was over an hour long, and it probably took me a full like 4 to 8 hours to like edit that one video. And that is a full, you know, and to kind of put into perspective, it's like I work, you know, your typical 9 to 5, but I actually get done at like 7 o'clock usually. So it's like, I have to spend time with my, you know, with my girlfriend. I have to get comics made, so on and so forth. So it's like, say, like I eat dinner, watch a movie with my girlfriend. That's 2 hours right there. Now it's 9 o'clock. Head over to the drawing board, draw or whatever for an hour or two. Now it's 11 o'clock. Now I have to get up the next morning to, you know, to work. You see what I mean? So it's like, time is like the most valuable thing in life. And I'm not gonna fucking waste it sitting at my computer here, you know, running edits. I'm just not interested in doing that. But with that being said, when the summer rolls around, I'm definitely going to have more time to do things like that. Purely because the the pressure to get a book isn't going to be as high done, because it's like a lot of that stuff is going to be done. It's more just going to be editing on my end. And then plus, you know, as you guys can probably tell, it's like I skate as well. So it's like that's something that I plan on putting up on the channel, is just like kind of just going out, hitting some skate spots, kind of cruising around a little bit, put some of that stuff up. Because I want this channel, you know, it's not just like about comic books. I mean, that's what the majority of the stuff is going to be, because that's like my main passion, obviously. But I named it after myself because it's more about, you know, my interests and everything like that. I don't use social media, so it's kind of like my way to connect to everyone and make it personable. So yeah, this is just kind of my my way to speak to everyone and kind of let my personality out there and all that kind of stuff. So obviously I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, so whenever the fuck the winter decides to stop being the winter, we'll hit the streets and make some cool skate stuff. But yeah, we'll see how the channel kind of evolves over time. It's like we're already at what? How long has it been going now? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be going on about 7 months now that this thing's been running. So it's kind of crazy that it's been going on that long. So here before we know it, it's gonna be a full year. And the year anniversary stream, we'll probably do something fun for that. Probably do a cool little video as well, kind of wrapping up, you know, everything that's been done the last year. See how that turns out. That'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that's probably where we're gonna call it. Yeah, like I said, I wish that we were able to actually sit here and you know, do an actual demo of this stuff, but I feel you know, the knowledge that I spit out today, and then as well what I've shared is super important and not information that you can really find everywhere. So I'm still glad that, you know, I was able to at least spit some stuff out to you guys. Next week I'll have a better camera. We will sit and we will actually get into the nitty-gritty of making the comics. And then yeah, I'll probably have a normal video up next week as well at some point. So you can look forward to that. I'll head over to my LCS, record some stuff with the owner Zach down there, and that'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think if I really have anything else for you guys before we take off here for the day. Like I said, I kind of wish that you know, we're sitting here cutting up Screentone, but we're not. So we're just kind of chilling. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else I really need to catch you guys up on. Again, if just show this off here. If you are out there and you want to make comics, April 1st is the deadline on this bad boy. We still have submission spots open, so if you'd like to submit something, you know, please do. We are right at the tail end of this, so let's get her done, folks. And then again, Eddie Pecan, September 13th and the 14th, I will be there both days tabling. I will be there with the book and other various things. I'll have a sketchbook there. I'm gonna be scanning basically the last year or so. I've gone through probably about 3 or 4 sketchbooks worth of stuff in terms of like filling them out. It's how much I've been fucking drawing. It's kind of crazy actually. So I think I'm gonna go through like my 3 or 4 different sketchbooks that I've like completely filled out, and like, you know, go through and find like all of the pages in there that are like really strong and scan those in and make it like a 10 to 15 page little like sketchbook throwaway booklet thing to bring with me at the con. I'll probably bring 50, so I'll have 25 the first day, 25 the next day. I'm gonna label them like day 1, day 2s, and then that way, you know, people know where they came from and what day they were on. So that's kind of like my con exclusive idea thing, is to have a sketchbook ready to, to go there. So please come hang out, Pittsburgh, you know, take some photos with me, shoot the shit, buy some comics. I'm also probably going to be recording videos with some other artists and YouTubers and whatnot out when I'm out there. So it's like Dave from West Coast Avengers, I've talked to about shooting some stuff when I'm out there. And then as well, I'll probably end up doing some stuff with the Piss Score fam, I'm sure. So just keep an eye peeled for that. We're making moves, folks. We're making moves. All right. Well, again, I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I usually like to go until noon. Next week we'll probably stream a little longer. It's strictly because, you know, this one had kind of fallen apart. But I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna buy a new camera. I'm gonna get everything that we're gonna need to actually get this thing up and running in a more professional manner. And yeah, next week we're gonna be taking a look at more comics in terms of like my comic and what I'm kind of doing for my process and everything like that. It'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, just keep an eye out. I'm just gonna go ahead right when we're done with this. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna get the next stream posted up, good to go, so that way you guys can hit the bell, so that way you're notified when it goes up. But every Sunday, 10:30 Central Standard Time, same bat time, same bat channel. You know where to find me, folks. If we do miss one, you know, I'll be sure to post, but we'll make up the stream later on in the week. So if I miss it during a Sunday for whatever reason, we'll make it up. We might do it on a Saturday, but this is probably going to be a mainstay. As you can tell, like, this is kind of like a good time for me to do this. I'm more of a morning guy. If I would love to do this way earlier in the morning, but not everybody is awake at, you know, 6 a.m. like I am, because like I get up and I'm just ready to go. Like, I want to hit the table and crank out pages, but unfortunately I can't do that. So it's not a good time for everybody to be up that early. I get it. And even on a 10:30 on a Sunday, it's like it's hard for people to get up, especially on like the Pacific Coast. So I get it. I just operate differently. Like, my brain turns on super early in the morning and my brain turns on super late at night. Like, during the day, it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of going through the motions. But like, creativity wise, for whatever reason, like right first thing in the morning, it's just like, boom, my lights are on. And then late at night, boom, my lights are on. During the day, it's just kind of going through the motions. So this is when I feel most sparky, is during the mornings and at night. And then that's something else that I kind of wanted to bring up as well, is that I plan on moving the streams later in the evening as time goes on here. It's purely that I'm doing them more in the mornings now, is because, you know, it's like I have roommates, so on and so forth, so it's like everybody's still asleep right now, so there isn't, you know, like internet being used and whatnot, so it kind of helps the stream out a lot in terms of bandwidth. I just upgraded the internet, so that really shouldn't be that big of an issue anymore. So I might be able to move it more into the evening, so we might play into that a little bit. So who knows, maybe next week we might move the stream into later in the evening on Sunday. If we can do like a Sunday fun day streams, you know, with me and just kind of shoot the shit. So I don't know, we might look into that actually. We might look into moving it a little later into the evening to see, you know, how viewership and whatnot does. And like, let's say we move it to like a 6 p.m. Pacific time, because that puts us at, you know, 7 on the East Coast and about 4 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. So it's right in the evening for everyone. So that's a pretty good time. Yeah, I guess the thing to note is I'm going to be starting up a 10-week course starting up in May. So that might hinder us doing them in the evenings on Sundays, but it shouldn't make that big of a difference. But yeah, I'm going through a comic course for 10 weeks with Jake Parker. So that'll be a lot of fun, but it ain't gonna be easy. Kind of nervous about it, to be honest with you, but hey, man. Trying to get the wheels in motion to get this shit done, so it's like, making comics is the ultimate goal, so that's what we're working towards, you know? So, alright, I think that's where we're gonna call it. Next week, we're gonna have a new overhead camera, so that way we can actually look at comics, make comics. So that we're going to do a part 2 of some Screentone stuff. So look forward to that. And then as well, I'll probably have an actual hunt video up, so I'm gonna go out and record some stuff there next Saturday. So yeah, let's get some shit done, folks. But as always, thanks for hanging out, talking comics. I think that's where we're gonna split it. Just keep an eye out for next week's streams, like little preview, so that way you're notified to hit that bell when I go live. Probably still gonna do it in the morning next week. I might move it to the evening. I'm not 100% sure yet. More than likely the morning. Same bat time, same bat channel, 10:30 CST. So then let's go ahead and hit it. All right, everyone. See you.